Hi, my name is Beth Novek, and welcome to this second video on our series on CrowdLaw. Here we examine how technology is being used to turn issues of concern into well-defined problems that can be addressed through legislation. We know that members of Congress are routinely contacted by constituents and advocacy groups with an issue, a complaint, or a demand that something be done. That can lead to what feels like drowning under a deluge of communications, an irresistible pressure from the public, often heightened by media coverage, to respond immediately with a solution. But if we develop and champion legislation and oversight based on a perceived but inaccurate understanding of what the problem actually is, what is causing it, and how people are experiencing it, then we reduce the likelihood of developing solutions that actually work. When this happens, we risk losing the trust of not only of those people who were expecting to be helped, but also the increased risk that members of the public will consider the failed solution a waste of taxpayer funds. Famously, Einstein said, "If I have 1 hour to solve a problem, I would expend 55 minutes defining it and the remaining 5 minutes actually solving it." So in this video, we look at 3 options for using new technology to engage with the public in understanding what the problem is, and using the outcome of that to inform the legislative process. First, we examine how to use artificial intelligence to conduct a large-scale online conversation with constituents and the public to discover and develop a shared understanding of a policy problem. Second, we look at how to use web-based online town halls to do the same thing. And finally, we examine how to use social media for enhanced digital listening. In Taiwan, they're conducting large-scale online conversations to define problems prior to legislating. The government is engaged now with more than 200,000 people in defining problems online, including asking the public to help define problems in connection with such difficult issues as Uber reform, telemedicine, online alcohol sales, and other complex issues of policymaking. And it's using that input to formulate, of late, already 26 pieces of national legislation. The V-Taiwan, or so-called Virtual Taiwan process, uses an open-source artificial intelligence platform called POLIS, POL.is, to create a large-scale conversation about a problem with diverse audiences. Participants can agree, disagree, or pass on one another's descriptions of a policy problem and indicate how important that definition of the problem is to them. As ratings of submissions progresses on the site, an algorithm calculates which problems people feel most strongly about and presents a visualization of what the problems are, how people perceive those problem areas, where people are divided, and where there's consensus. This so-called opinion landscape enables you to distinguish between a problem area that's really ripe for advancing to the legislative process and those issues where there's really more disagreement and where more discussion might be needed. Thanks to the efficiency of the underlying artificial intelligence, running such an exercise can be done by a single member of staff working just part-time. As Taiwan's digital minister Audrey Tang actually says about the process, quote, "With these new tools, we have made it efficient and effective to hear from tens of thousands of constituents, enabling our legislature to enact bills that are more informed because we ask the public for help with exploring the issue." To hear more about the V-Taiwan process from Audrey, please visit congress.crowd.law to hear a more complete interview. Now, a second option for connecting with constituents to define the problem is to try one or more online town halls. These are simply an hour or two of lightly moderated deliberation using your choice of simple web-based discussion platforms that will help participants move beyond angry rants and toward a common understanding of a problem. Most web-based discussion platforms, such as Zoom, include a dial-in option for those without web access. In an experiment with 12 sitting United States representatives and 1 senator, both Republicans and Democrats, a group of researchers recruited a random sample of each congressperson's constituents to participate in an online town hall to discuss important issues with that member. There was also a control group In other words, citizens who read briefing materials but didn't participate in the conversation. The experiment found that this type of online interaction with the congressperson caused participants to increase their knowledge about the issues, and they also loved the event. 95% said it was very valuable for democracy, and 97% said they would be interested in doing another. California Democratic Congresswoman Eshu said, quote, "I always learn from what my constituents say to me. There are several things that were expressed to me this evening that really would not have been brought into focus for me, so I appreciate it." Texas Republican Congressman Conway added, "This medium gives us a little bit of a chance to talk on something other than 30-second sound bites to help me communicate with you." Our third option for engaging constituents in a problem definition is what we might call digital listening, namely analyzing social media to assemble the collective intelligence and lived experience of a widely dispersed group of people. There are numerous examples of public institutions adopting this approach. One example is the RiskMap project. RiskMap is a nonprofit initiative developed by MIT and in use in Florida, as well as in use in India and Indonesia. It uses Twitter to enlist the public's help with spotting flooding. RiskMap is a paradigmatic example of collective intelligence. When hurricane season batters the East Coast of the United States, RiskMap helps residents and government officials track flooding in Broward County, Florida. Residents affected by flooding, which sadly now takes place even on sunny days, can add information to a publicly available map via a popular social media channel. Officials can then assess damage and reroute traffic accordingly. The system is programmed to react when someone tweets the word flood. Software called a chatbot automatically replies and asks them to confirm the tweet or a Facebook post with geotagged photos showing the location of the flooding. The platform then combines all of those incoming reports with official data from government sources to build an up-to-the-minute, real-time online flood map. The maps are then made publicly available to both citizens and public authorities. Real-time community-led data collection and sharing, as well as visualization, reduces flood risks and assists in relief efforts in Florida, Indonesia, and India, where together millions of people are using this tool. There are also commercially available platforms that analyze large volumes of social media posts and visualize the data obtained that can help you take the pulse of the public on any issue in real time. All of the three options we have discussed today have advantages over the current ways in which we define problems so that legislation can be both more effective and enjoy a greater level of legitimacy and support from the public. On the one hand, artificial intelligence platforms that we've seen help to scale problem definition and prioritization, going beyond then the small group of experts, interest groups, or advocates that we usually talk to. Secondly, online town halls create more constructive conversation that help move the public towards a common understanding of a problem, and that can help set the primary objective for legislation. And three, digital listening using social media, which entails the collecting the collective intelligence, know-how, and experience of a widely distributed group of people, can help expand the capability to pinpoint where and how problems are actually occurring, so that legislative provisions can target hotspots while also providing for flexible responses. Good design and timely application of any of these strategies to the lawmaking process can help, therefore, members to reduce the risk of ineffective, knee-jerk responses to issues of concern and prepare the groundwork for developing better solutions, which is the topic of our next video.